The reality of the Mandela effect cannot be denied. It has an official website.
Countless blog articles.
And a support group of sorts on the most welcoming platform on the internet, Reddit. They don't do that for just anything.
You're not alone. I'm with you.
And as one sufferer to another, I make a humble request.
That you please.
Just stop it.
Enough
Just
with this
stop
crap already.
This
Seriously.
is dumb. The Mandela effect is not a medically recognized psychological phenomenon. It's from a blog started by a self-described paranormal consultant, Fiona Broom.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to another sort of one of these. The Mandela effect, not something I'm a big fan of using in that term. There's someone I follow on YouTube. He doesn't post a lot, actually. Captain Disillusion. He does various other things. He's done a couple of amazing behind-the-scenes documentaries. One's on Back to the Future, one on Flight of the Navigator. But he did a video quite a while ago about the Mandela effect, and he had a bit of a deep dive into the deeper meanings behind it all. Basically, we've always misremembered things. I personally can remember, I'm going to show my age yet again, I went to see Annie the musical, the original musical with Aileen Quinn, Albert Finney, etc. And the final scene where Annie is climbing up the rail bridge, and Rooster, who's played by Tim Curry, is chasing after her, and Punjab is coming down in the helicopter. I remembered that Annie fell off the top of the bridge and Punjab caught her. Now obviously they're in a bloody helicopter, that's not going to be possible. It's about as likely as James Bond being able to jump off that platform at the bottom of the Arecibo telescope and land on the runners of the helicopter without going through some very nasty rotorblade business. But obviously I saw it again many years later and I thought, oh, it didn't happen the way I remembered it. I'm going to probably cite a lot of the Captain Disillusion video because it really is very informative of, one, how it started, and two, how it's always kind of been. Now, I got into a heated internet debate, as I want to do. A few days ago, somebody posted a image on Facebook. I'll post it here. Basically, somebody said about the character Dolly in the James Bond film Moonraker. Now, I actually have it here, and I've actually put it back on the shelf, so bear with me. Moonraker, 2006. They digitally remastered all of the DVDs. This is the 2-disc special edition with some god-awful behind-the-scenes stuff with Roger Moore not suiting a baseball cap at all. So that was from 2000 and whatnot when they redid it. Now, somebody posted the image, and I haven't got it to hand, but it said some of the character Dolly, who was George's girlfriend in Moonraker. And do you remember that she used to have braces on her teeth? And I read that, but no, she didn't. I remember it very, very well. But loads of the comments underneath the post were, oh yeah, she definitely had braces, because there was a juxtaposition between the two of them. That's how they fell in love, because they both had metal on their teeth. And I thought, well, no, that's not why. The comedic value of their relationship came from the fact that Richard Kiel was 7 foot something tall, and Blanche something or other, whoever her name is, Dolly, was about 5 foot. That's the humour. He's huge, she's tiny, but she's very large in other ways, which I think was the overall appeal, which is a little bit demoralising to women. But then again, this was the 70s James Bond films, and it was all about that. So anyway, the debate got rather heated, and loads of people started putting screenshots up. Look, this is her smiling. Look, I've got it on VHS. Here's a screen grab from my VHS. Hot tip, anybody can put a crappy old VHS filter on film these days. Even made as recently as 2024. So, yeah, so that was falling on deaf ears for me, but still, they persisted. And I thought, well, there's a very easy way to find this. I'll get my DVD, and I'm going to show you some of the footage, and the footage of the scene in question. Hopefully this doesn't get too copyright struck. Now, As you can see, she definitely did not have braces on her teeth, but then somebody posted a YouTube link to this video. And again, I thought, well, it's pretty well done, but the screenshots, as you know, you've probably seen some other good, I'm quite good on the old Photoshop. And because of this, I'm also quite good at spotting which Photoshop has happened. And this occasion, Photoshop has definitely happened. And one of the screenshots that was posted on the chat, where they said absolutely, was a bit of a giveaway. It was a VFX firm or VFX channel that adapts. They actually call itself the Mandela effect, where they basically go back and look at old footage and change it in a way that's very subtle. And one of the things they did was Dolly's teeth. Now, what's humorous is, and what a lot of the people in the chat completely forgot, is that isn't the only scene she's in the film. Again, the humour is, at the end of the film, all spoilers forgiven, it's her and Jaws in the last active remnant of what was Moonraker base, which incidentally I have seen. It's at the Bond in Motion exhibition when it was in London Covent Garden. I think it's on tour around America at the moment, and they have that last remaining part of the Moonraker base still on display. It's only about this big. I see I've got a photo of it here. If not, that was a complete waste of a point, and I apologise. But yeah, that was the point. So, but before then, after Jaws has become the hero after all, even though he has horribly killed people, him and Dolly are there opening the bottle of champagne. Roger Moore, James Bond, asks them to help to release Moonraker 5, which is Drax's shuttle, which has the laser. Can you tell I only watched this film 3 days ago to verify? But just before then, they're trying to find each other, and it's all, Jaws is looking all sad. And then Dolly comes around the corner, is also happy, and she smiles, and she's got the big yellow jumpsuit on, completely covering herself, which is putting more attention onto her face rather than other attributes that she may have had earlier in the film. But she smiles, and she smiles happily, and there's not a brace to be seen. So, if you are watching this and you are of the opinion that yes, she absolutely definitely did have braces, show me a clip of this shot, not the other one, with her having braces in this film. So most Mandela effect, misremembering, happens to us all. There's the Monopoly Man monocle, the Kit Kat hyphen, Berenstain Bears, Play It Again Sam, Hello Clarice, Mum said life is like a box of chocolates, or life was like a box of chocolates. There's all these things that we kind of remember, we don't fully, and then we say, oh, do you remember when X? And other people who aren't quite sure think, yeah, that's probably how it happened. And when they find evidence to the contrary, they go a little bit apeshit about it. And they absolutely defend their honour. This is how I remember it, this is my perception, which reminds me a lot of flat earthers. So as we know, the final experiment has been announced by a chap called Will Duffy. And basically what he's proposing to do is send one flat earther and one globe earther, or people who actually understand and deal with reality on a daily basis, to go to the South Pole, Antarctica, all expenses paid, to see the 24-hour sun. So obviously it's going to be going in December, which is winter time, so the southern celestial pole or the southern pole will be tilted towards the Earth because the Earth is on its tilt. Heavy traffic. Must be Sunday. And because of that, it will be spinning on this axis with the sun, and you will always see the 24-hour sun. This will, of course, crush the flat Earth, because this is the best demonstration I have at the moment. If the Earth is flat, well, there's two things that's going to be revealed on this trip. One is that there is no ice wall, there is no outer circle of ice, and there aren't armed penguins guarding you and every turn, making you turn back. People go to the Antarctica and South Pole all the time. I saw a video the other day. I actually didn't realise how kind of commercial it is. I always thought it was it is inhospitable. Average daily temperature at the South Pole is minus 57 degrees. So you can't just rock up. You do need permission. One of the mantras of flat earthers is that you can't just go to the South Pole because they'll turn you back. Yeah, if you're like those idiots who thought they could get to the South Pole in a speedboat, even though they were actually only in between Australia and Tasmania, I almost said Tanzania then, but that's in Africa, that's miles away. You're going to get turned around because you need preparation, you need training, you need permission. It's nothing to do with the Antarctic Treaty, which is just basically nobody's going to militarise or start drilling for oil on Antarctica, which is fair enough. It is probably one of the only global treaties that is still standing in this absolute shit show of a planet we've got going on at the moment. So I think we should give the Antarctic Treaty a little bit of credit. But anyway, so if you are, to explain slightly, one, if you'll get to the South Pole or get to Antarctica, that means that's one of your theories completely destroyed because there is no ice wall. And obviously their mantra is that the sun is local and it's rotating. This happens to be the microphone stand for my new bass. If I want it on a bass, it just happens to be really handy for this demonstration. So imagine this line here, this other little rubber thing, is the path of the sun. It's floating 3,000 miles up with no obvious forms of propulsion or elevation. There's nothing holding up there, just magic. But it's rotating. I'm here. Now, if you're standing at a single point on the end, you're just going to see the sun do this. So it's going to be a single point going back and forth, left and right, or right and left, which clockwise or anti-clockwise. You would like literally see it having that path getting smaller as it's over here and larger as it's over here. But if you're standing here and the sun's going around you, that's it, you're buggered. Now, the biggest, there were polls to see who was going to go first, or who was going to be most likely. David Weiss, the charlatan hack fraud that he absolutely is, was the front runner. Not a clue. I've said this I've seen a few posts about this and whatever, because I'm, when you interact with an algorithm, it interacts back. So I've had lots of things up on my feeds and YouTube and things like that, especially with the final experiment. The thing about David Weiss is, it's his only source of income. He's a hack fraud. He gets money from this bullshit app he has, as well as all the interviews he keeps begging to do. He's just done one with Alex Jones. The guy, Tony Frogg's gay? Fluoride in the water is Tony Frogg's gay. And he's the guy that's just got royally sued, and properly sued, because he's the guy that said that Sandy Hook school shootings were a hoax. He's an absolute... No, I won't. So David Weiss, absolute hack. Of course he's not going to go. Because if he was to go there and to witness with his own eyes that everything he's basing his business model on was bullshit, he loses his revenue stream. He'll actually have to find a proper job. And he's a bit late. Was he supposed to long in the tooth? He's too old to be trying to do that. I really can't see him, stuffing bags at Waitrose or Safeway. The other one down was Jeranism. Again, he was emailing Will back and forth saying, if I have to buy clothing, if I have to buy this, if I have to do it, will it all be paid? And Will said, yes, to get you there, I will pay for everything. Just please come. And so far, everybody has said no. The front runner on the realist side of it, or the Globe Earther side of it, is Dave McKeegan. Good old Dave. So Dave McKeegan is the front runner to go at the moment. I think he is actually going to go. Where's Wally wants to, Where's Wally doesn't want to go, but he did recommend one of his associates who could. Dan can't go, Creaky can't go, Sir Sick wouldn't go because obviously he doesn't show his face in public, and that's completely up to him. I understand why. I take part in terrible streams with terrible people every week, so that's something to look forward to tomorrow night actually. But it should be interesting because so far it's 6-0. 6 Globe Earthers I said they're willing and happy to go out of a list of 25. Out of a list of 25 flat earthers, none of them have accepted. It's all expenses paid. All you have to do is book 2 weeks off work, if you even have a job. I mean, like I said, if it's your only revenue stream, there's no reason for you not to go. You're getting paid to go. And if you do work, and if you just book a holiday, just say that you're going to an extreme location, it might take you a little bit longer to recover as long as you don't get frostbite. So it should be interesting. Of course, certain people have come up and said, "Oh, it's all going to be a waste of time." one in particular, Level Earth Observer. He's made a couple of videos on the subject, but I've actually got to the point now where I despise the sound of his voice. And it's not necessarily his voice, it's his inflection, the way he says things. And I've talked about this before when I did the bingo. Less than 1% of a clue he has about anything like this. But what interests me, and I think I've said this before, he's not a flat earther. He's a demonstrable realist. So why is it bothering him so much? Why is he spending time making videos about it? He doesn't think the earth is flat. He just believes the earth is scientifically impossible. He has his three little mantras, you know, the cranes, water and atmosphere, pressure gradients, conservation of momentum and sheer scale of the planet. Three things he has no knowledge of but feels qualified enough to talk about. So he makes these comments, has no way of backing up or presenting alternative evidence. All he says is tested and verifiable by all, which is a bollock statement. It's just a cowardly cop-out. So there we go. So the final experiment should be interesting. I'd love to go myself, but I was never invited, and I've got lots of time. So if everybody has to drop out, I'm your man. I'll take you in this, Will. But there we go. So that was just a short, sweet one. Yeah, Mandela effect. Again, it was just somebody did say something else a little while ago, and I can't. It wasn't anything to do with like Pikachu's tail, and I was trying to go through my histories and see what it was, but it was something just as asinine. And you look at them and you think, yeah, you've misremembered it. And as Captain Disillusion says in one of his videos, in the video I'm talking about, people, it's the same as every time you misremember something, every time you remember something, it's like internal personal Chinese whispers. Every time you remember, you might fudge a tiny detail, and then by 5 years down the line, it shows it's a completely different story from when you originally started, unless you have the source material right in front of you at all times. Again, I was convinced for at least 15 to 20 years that little orphan Annie fell through the blades of a helicopter rotor and was caught by a bloke with a turban. Turns out he actually took the turban off because that's how he used to hang from the helicopter to pluck Annie from the jaws of danger, bless him. And then Tim Curry fell down the ground. It was all very good. I love a musical. Right, thank you very much for watching. That's a little bit rambly one, and I started Mandela, went on to Final Experiment. I also managed to take myself up to London yesterday. Now I'm recording this at 8 o'clock on the 2nd of June 2024. I was at work yesterday morning till 12, and I have an app on my phone. This is a little bit complete. If you want to hear this, then fine. There's an app called Today Ticks, and if you hang around on that app at 10 o'clock every morning, you can get what's known as rush tickets, which are tickets to theatre shows in London, really quite cheap. I got a ticket for Book of Mormon for 25 quid. Getting up there was 30. So, and then I spent far too much money in Forbidden Planet, which I always do. Hence, new t-shirt. But what I didn't realise, and what I really should have researched yesterday, was it happened to be there was a tiny sporting event that went on. I believe it's something called the Champions League final was being held at Wembley. Some sort of insignificant little, footy match somewhere. Anyway, probably 10,000 Borussia Dortmund and Real Madrid supporters were all over the place. I went through Trafalgar Square. You couldn't, because it was completely sectioned off for the Champions League festival. I think Becky Hill was actually performing at the time when I walked past around the back. So a rather large amount of Spanish people shouting how amazing they were. But I will say, amazingly good-natured, really friendly atmosphere throughout all of London. No yobbishness. That was down to Tommy Robinson, who apparently took it upon himself to do a little stupid march down to Whitehall for whatever reason, inflate his own ego at some reason. Lawrence Fox was there as well. That should tell you everything you need to know. But luckily I turned up quite late after that, so all those shenanigans were well over. But yeah, then I came back, got back about 11:30, had a few pints and went to bed. So lovely. Next time I'll go to London, which I'd like to do as often as possible, I should do some research about what's actually happening that day before I set off. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me rambling for the last 5 minutes there. Mandela effect isn't a thing. It's just misremembering, and we've always done it since time immemorial. I will link the Captain Disillusion video down below. I really hope he doesn't mind me showing a few clips there. It's meant in good humour, and I think his video illustrates perfectly why you shouldn't call it the Mandela effect at all.
As for the term Mandela effect, just keep in mind.
When you popularize it, the only thing you accomplish is helping this woman use this website to sell this shirt.
Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.